Hello YouTube, Scratch MB here. Today we're actually going to be replacing the shifter on my car. Well, I'm going to be showing you how to do it. I actually already did it, but I'm going to show you how to change it from the stock shifter to a short throw shifter, so you have a shorter throw instead of, this is actually the newer one, instead of going like all the way up here and all the way down here for your gears. So let's get into this. First, you're going to start by coming down here. There's these panels down here. I don't know if you can see me running my finger along the bottom of them. And then there's the same on the other side. There's another one just like it. You could see this one a lot better. But see how when I pull on this, it yanks on this piece up top here with the red threads. So you want to pull it out. Now I got it over top of the piece with the red threads. And now I could just easily pull it out. It's very easy to get out. Then what you're going to do is you're going to actually stick your fingers up inside of here, up inside the hole that you just opened, and you're going to push on the back of this. So when I'm pushing here, I'm pushing on the back of that, and it might not pop out that easy. This comes out very easily once you do get it out. Then on the back of it, there is the connector for the auxiliary. So there's a piece on the top here. You can see that. Just a little button. So the reason why you took that out is so you can get to these screws. You have two there. Take the cup holder out. Take this little cover out. You have two there. And now what you're also supposed to do is take the shift knob off. And then once you do that, you will actually pop off this piece right here. So the way that you pop this off is you just grab the lip of it and you just pull up. Very, very easy. Don't break anything. It's just clipped on. And then you will actually run into your first potential problem. So your first confusing problem might be this right here. I couldn't figure out how the hell you get this thing off, but there is a little button on the one side. Yeah, on this side. There's this little button. You press this in with like your fingernail or something. Okay, there we go. Once you press that down, this will just come right out. So now you just removed the cover with your traction control buttons and all that. You could just set that aside. I just like to put everything on this side. Now you have access to these screws down here. So once you get all those screws out, just take them out. I like to put them in my cup holder actually. It's a good storage place for them all. I just have the cup holder right here. And then I just tuck them in just like that. I'm going to take these out too. So this is for this center piece. So now that you have all those out, this can actually just pop right up. But before you take this out, you want to take off this cover right here. And inside here, there's actually a clip, which you can't really see down there, but it clips on. You could just pull it to get it off. You could just pull it away and up, and then the rest should follow. If it doesn't, just pull along the edge. Like if it doesn't come up, just pull along the edge, kind of like that. Pull it away, and it comes up pretty easily. This just comes right up off of the brake. So now this piece can just come right up, but you have the cigarette lighter right here, and to unplug that, just pull it out. It's not that hard to unplug. There actually is little clips on it, but there's no way of actually depressing them. I'm not really sure why, but it's kind of annoying. So I'm just shoving that in the back seats for now. Alright, so now we're at this point. You just want to take these clips off. These are just to dampen the vibrations in the cab and the sounds a little bit. So now this little foam guard piece can just come right off. And just put that aside for now. Now you have this right here. Take that off like that. And this piece you push on the top and bottom of this little piece, and it should pull right out afterwards. It's a little hard to do with one hand, but I got it. Alright, so I don't know if you want to see that. See, it's like a little arrowhead. You just pinch it and then it comes out. So now you need your socket wrench. You're going to want to use a 12mm socket, but these are not very tight. At least they weren't when I took it apart the first time. They were pretty loose, actually. I don't know how much torque they're supposed to be torqued down to, but I don't think it's very much. I think it's pretty much just snug. And then a little, like about 1/8 of a turn after they're snug, just to snug them down even more. After you get all these out, there's this boot here that you see, and there's little rubber pieces that connect to the rest of it. Alright, now that I got those screws off, this just pokes through. You just push that through with your fingers. There's one at the top too. There we go. And this piece just comes right off. There's not really much to remember with this because it will really only fit in one way. This just pulls straight up, much like the other piece. Just get it around the shifter. Since I'm doing this with one hand, it is very difficult to do. But I think you get the idea. Now, since this is not the stock shifter has different bolts here. It has, I believe, 10mm bolts, and once those come out, this plate right here, this silver one, that is a blocker for reverse. So as you can see, when I pull this piece up, it pulls this bottom piece up. So when I pull this up, it can go over that blocker, but when I don't have it pulled up, it can't go over it. Like, it just hits into it. But when I pull it up, I can go over it. I need to get some, I need to get my clutch changed or something. It's fucking hard to put it into gear and shit. But these, for me, are actually Allen wrench screws. But for you, they should be 10mm sockets, if I'm not mistaken. Or if they're not 10, they might be a 12, but I'm pretty sure they're 10. I got those screws off, so once you do that, you can just take this plate off. And now what you're going to do is, this is where it gets really fun. Because this boot, this rubber boot, I already have mine off. It's all fucked up and ripped open and shit. But this, it's like fucking glued to the bottom of the shifter, and it's so fucking hard to get off. Like, trust me, you will have trouble getting this off. You're not doing something wrong if you can't get it off. It's just really fucking hard to get off. But anyways, this rubber boot comes off of the bottom of the shifter, and it is very fucking hard to get off. So good luck with that. Once you get it off, slide it down. Just slide it past the connection right here, and you will see this. That is the cotter pin and a washer, and this is the bottom of the shifter itself. So what I recommend doing is getting a pair of needle nose pliers, just so you don't drop that cotter pin. Just grabbing onto it real tight and pulling it out just like that. Set that aside. I like to put it in my cup holder. Now just take that washer off. That washer you can get off with your fingers, and it is not that hard. Just be careful that you don't drop it. I got enough of a gap on it that I think I could fit the needle noses here. Yep, there we go. So that washer. Now once you get that off, you can actually pull the shifter out. Now for you, it might be very difficult because I have this thing really, really greased up. So what you can do, if you can't get it off, you can play with the gears to put it into 6th, maybe, just to get a better angle. Or you can put it into, actually no, yeah, put it into 5th to get a better angle. Or actually you can put it into 3rd. 3rd's not a bad spot either. And you can stick a flathead screwdriver in on the side of this. You could even put it into 1st too, but I recommend probably like 3rd, just because 3rd or 4th, just because it's like more towards the middle and you can actually get some like leverage off of it. Otherwise, if it's in like 1st, but you could stick a screwdriver in here, in the side here, just to get some leverage, and then you kind of just pop it off just like that. It's not that hard to do. And then once you get that out, you are actually not controlling the car at all, and this piece just pops right out. It's getting caught by something, because why would things have to be easy? It's actually getting caught by the piece itself. I don't know where it is, and it's still connected. I didn't pull it all the way out. But yeah, just make sure you pull it all the way out before you pull it up. So now that comes out. Now when you have your stock one, this is really fucking greased up, because I greased it up quite a lot. Probably more than I should have. But you will actually have, let me just see if I can fix this piece. I broke the fuck out of this piece, but there is a piece, there's some stuff on it. There's a piece that is on here. This goes around there, and this part faces downward, and you'll have to take that off of the old one and put it on the new one, and it acts like a seal. This goes in here, just like that. It acts like a seal in here. So when you have the shifter, it goes through here, and then this seals this kinda. I think it might actually give you like a little less play too, because I don't have this in mine because it's all fucked up. I don't know if you can see how like warped and shit it is. It's like really crazy. This happened because I tried to pull it up, and I think it actually went, I think it went completely through the piece here, and it didn't sit where it was supposed to. And when I tried to pull it up, it just completely fucked the whole thing up. So yeah, this is useless now. But when you put the shifter in, you want to grease this ball joint right here, both sides. I just put some grease in between each little groove, and then I give it a good spin. And then you could put some grease on the top here. You could buy a little anti-seize packet at your auto parts store. I went to Advanced Auto Parts. It's like about $1.50. It's really not bad. I highly recommend getting it, because you are probably not going to be reusing that boot, and you really want to have that grease being the main thing contacting this, like, so if no dirt gets in there, like if dirt does get in there, at least it'll have something else to work with instead of just grinding on that dirt, you know what I'm saying? So you want to grease this as well. That piece that I showed you should be right on here, and once you are done with that, you just put this back in. Now, I don't know if you noticed how, see how that has an angle to it? Like, if I turn it like this, you can see it has an angle to it. The angle facing inward, see how it's kind of facing that way? Like, it kind of makes like almost a point towards that way. Like, this part is up higher than this part on the bottom. But you want that facing, you want the point that's facing that way to be facing that way, if you get what I'm saying. Like, see how I have it? That bend, the kneecap of the bend is right here. So you want that facing the front of the car. Otherwise, you'll have just some awkward shifting, and if you have it the other way, you'll kind of be smacking into your stuff right here. Like, I don't know if you could see that, but that's kind of how you would be shifting. So just turn that around, and then once you got that, you just push this down, and this little piece right here, that just sits in there. And then you could push this down a little bit just to get it a little bit more firm. And now you can not re-thread, but re-poke that thing through here, that piece. If I can find it. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I pushed this piece back through the hole. It's not that hard to do. Now, if you're like me, the fucked up boot is going to get caught in it, so just make sure you pull it out. I had to figure this out on my own, and you'll know when it's pulled out because you'll be able to see that hole clearly. You'll be easily able to see that hole. I like to just hold this just like this. Very easy. You can't fuck it up. Just stick it in the hole and then just push it through. And it might give you problems the first time. But that is in. And we are done. Video done. It's all good. Now what I like to do is just pull up the fucked up boot. If you still have any of it left. Like, this one is really fucked up. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a huge rip. There is a huge rip in that. And it's probably because I took it off like a couple times. But I like to just pull that over the connections there. And at this point, you might as well just rip the damn thing off because it's pretty fucked up. So, something to note when you're putting this back together is you can go through all your gears. I'm pulling it at a lower point because I don't want to get grease on the top side. But you remember your gears, okay? Remember, I'm gonna take this off real quick. Remember that is in reverse. That's not first gear, that's in reverse. See, I can't go down. Now the first time when I did it, I was like, oh no, why can't I go into second? And I was freaking out. That's because that's not second gear. That's reverse, or that's not first gear. That's reverse. First gear is right there. And second gear is right there. Nope, missed it. That's third or fourth. Second somewhere over here. It's hard to see it without the guide. I think that's second gear. But that is second gear. That's third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So just make sure all your gears work before you put everything back together. So reverse, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. So all my gears work. You just wiggle around just because. I don't know why the fuck everyone does that. So when you put this plate on, you want to get your screws. I like to just put the screws in just to hold it there for the time being. Because if you drop this plate, I don't know if you can see what's down there, but there's this weird textured thing. I think it's called like a ground or something. But if you drop that, you'll have to just search for it. And this isn't a big deal to find because it's so big and it's so easy to find. If you drop that cotter pin, you might be searching for like 5 or 10 minutes. It's a pain in the ass. And I know that because I dropped it the first time. And I had to push the car. I could have just turned it on and drove it. But I took the handbrake off and then I actually just pushed the car. So your next step is to tighten these down, but before you do that, you just want to put it into first gear. So to do that, you can actually just push it into first gear, and that is to find out where your measurement will be, like your screw down points for this blocker here, like how far over it should be. And as you can see, it's like pretty much all the way as far over as it goes. And just try and go up and down in first and second. And as you can see, when I go into second, it actually catches where this blocker piece isn't doing anything. So you might have to just move it just a little bit, put it in second, put this blocker piece back down, and then you could try and move it again. And if it's good, you could tighten these down right where they're at. So I'm just going to do that real quick. So now that that's tightened down, just try out your gears, make sure everything goes. So reverse, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And you can actually just try and drive around if you want. You just throw the knob back on the top, you know, no big deal. And then you can just drive around, maybe around the block just a little bit, just to get a feel for it, to see if it's actually proper, if anything's messed up. This is what I meant by it had a lot of play. I'm not really sure why this one has a lot of play. It shouldn't. I think it's actually the shifter itself. But look at that, like in fifth gear. Look at how far over I can move this. That is ridiculous. I feel like that's a lot. And then in sixth gear, it's pretty bad too. And that could be because I don't have that piece down in there. I think actually, that rubber piece, wherever the hell it is, that might be because I don't have this in there. Like that might have stopped it a little bit. I'm not really too sure. But once you're done with that, now you just reassemble everything. So you get this piece. But first, you take the boot and you put that right over top. Now, this is, I was actually putting it on wrong. The lower hole, I don't know if you see how low that hole is in comparison to that hole. That goes on the bottom. It'd probably help if I take the shift knob off the top. That goes on the bottom here. So that just goes right over top there. And this just slides down past this bottom piece down here. See this lip? It could probably stay on. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to stay on here. Actually, no, I don't think it's supposed to, because that's where this piece is supposed to go. So that goes on just like that, no big deal. And then this piece goes over top, and remember, this is towards the back. So there's these little nubby things. Those go just through the holes. Just like that. There's one there. There's one right over here. There's one here, and there's one here at the top. You just pull those through with your fingers. I don't need these gloves on, but I just put them on just because. Now, I recommend wearing gloves if you're a pussy. You could be a man and get that grease all over your hands, or you could be a pussy and not wear gloves, or a pussy and wear gloves. This piece just slides right through there, just like before, how you took it off. And then you get your 12mm screws, your 12mm bolts, I should say. And those just go on all four corners. Alright, so now that you're done with that, you can tighten these screws down. And just a little word of advice. When you're tightening a screw, and you're screwing it in, you know, you're screwing it in by your fingers, and it gets hard to turn, and it's about, I don't know if you could see, that's pretty high up. If it's any higher than touching the first point of contact, you're probably cross-threading it. So just when you're cross-threading it, just take it back out. And what I like to do to make sure I get the right way is I turn it as if I'm taking it out until you'll hear it kind of like pop, because that'll be the end of the thread, like right there. And then you could start turning it clockwise, and that should be the correct threads. So when I crank these down with the ratchet, I don't know how much torque they're supposed, like how much you're supposed to torque these down, but when I took them off, they weren't really that hard. Like, I think you just tighten them until they're snug, and then just a little bit more after. They're getting pretty hard to turn. Alright, so probably about right there, they're pretty snug. You can probably just turn it about 1/8 of the way. I do that on all 4. I go in a crossing pattern instead of one after the other. After that, you put this little foam piece on. This piece goes in the corner, just remember that. And you have these little clips that you put in your cup holder before. Just go on like that. Nothing really too fancy at all. Alright, those are on. And now you can dig out this piece out of the back of your car. This fucking monstrosity. It's going to attack me. But this just comes up just like this. There we go. And remember, your cigarette lighter just plugs into these 2 clips down here, if I can find them, and they click in. And just remember, when you're putting this in, put it in the right way. Alright, this doesn't click in, which bothers me, but once it is in, it just sits there. Like, look at this, it just sits there. It doesn't click into anything at all. Like, right here at the front, it kinda holds into something. Like, it kinda holds into something, but not really. Like, it doesn't click in at all. So now that you got your screws in, just basically click everything back into where it was originally. So you want to put this on first, just because that gets in the way a little bit. So just bring this all the way down to the end of it. And once you get that on, you can see there is kind of a little clip here with an opening on the back of it. And that goes around that piece there. So it just goes just like that. And that just slides down there. And now you just go along the edges. Now you could take your cover. You could actually just put that down. Actually, before you put that down, you just plug this in. And remember, that just clicks in. It's a little bit of a hard push, so just keep that in mind. It's not like a real easy click on the first time. Just make sure you don't bend your pins. This piece goes back like that. So you put that in first, and then just push it down around all the sides. And now that's in. Bring this down. Now this doesn't go all the way down, but there is a point at where it's supposed to go. And don't forget your auxiliary plug-in right here. I can't even hold this like in a good way. There we go. I guess that kind of works. You can't even see anything that I'm doing. But just remember there we go. Just remember there is this clip piece that goes towards the top right here, and that just clicks in. So you just push this in and just set it in until it clicks in. Clicks in on the top, clicks in on the bottom. Everything's all good. And you have these panels. These panels are not hard to get back in. I don't know if you can see, but there's a little piece. That was my finger in there. There's a piece right here that the back of it goes into. Just like that. And you just push it in. It goes in very, very easily. Now, here's the thing with this particular short shifter that I bought, okay? Now, I don't know if you noticed this, but the threading is here, and there's a piece after the threading. Now, watch when I put this down. Oh, watch when I tighten this. This should not happen, because this shifter is different than the stock shifter, because that piece pokes up. So when I tighten this all the way down, it actually pops up this little thing, and you want to tighten it down enough to where it won't turn when you're driving it, but this just pops right off because that short shifter has that piece that sticks up, which is kind of dumb. So that just pushes that piece out. Like, I could leave it a little loose, but then when I drive, it'll just be like this, and you don't want that. You don't want it to be like that at all. So just tighten it down all the way, and that's really all there is to it. Like, after that, I mean, you could try and go through your gears, you know, reverse, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I would try and drive around too. So that's what I'm actually going to do to show you how it is. So when you're testing it, just make sure that all of your stuff works. So this is my reverse. And remember, my clutch is fucked up. And there's someone actually just driving right behind me. Hello. But just make sure that your reverse works. You know, I'm backing up. So my reverse works. My first gear works. My second gear works. My third gear works. It goes into fourth, fifth, and then sixth, which I shouldn't be going in sixth at this slow. All of your gears work. Just gonna downshift a little bit. It's very hard to do with one hand because I have to steer at the same time. But yeah, after all that, you got yourself a brand new set of blinker fluid in your Hyundai. You know, you're a racer now. You're a fucking racer, bro. It's all good now. You know how to modify cars. Good job.